Alright, so I'm Ryan Gregor, the Associate Director of Marketing here in the Office of Enrollment. I suppose it's just, having avenues and having venues where people can sort of get their voice heard. It's kind of a two-way street as well, so you're not only pushing information out to people, you're also receiving information and reacting to it at the same time. So it's kind of a cyclical thing rather than just sort of pushing information out at people. It's sort of the high point of the consumer revolution, I think. You're seeing a lot more consumers that have a voice. They're affecting what the products look like, what services, how services act. Just in my own experience, I don't like to do it, but I've used Twitter and I've used Facebook to sort of get responses from companies when maybe through other means, more traditional means, I've got nothing from them. So I think it's a way of sort of making things public. I don't want to say like a public shaming, but in a lot of ways that's kind of what it turns out to be. So it does give consumers much more power, and so but the other aspect of that is, as a marketer, as a business, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. You realize a lot of the people sort of flaming you on Twitter or Facebook are sort of a rash individual. Maybe they just didn't get a decision that they wanted. If a kid is denied from AU and he starts flaming us on Twitter or something like that, we're not going to react too badly to it just because we know what it is. But if a student has a problem with a process or something like that, that's something that we need to address pretty quickly. We definitely get especially this fall, we had a lot of info sessions around the country. We'd have students tweeting from those info sessions like, oh, I'm having a great time this AU info session, I'm learning so much, I think this is really the school for me. For us, that's great, that's brand advertising, publicity that we don't have to pay for. We can just retweet that. It looks really good for us, and so, it works both ways. You get students who are incredibly happy with the experience and some are not so happy, so you take the good with the bad. There's a loss of control in terms of using social media and these platforms, but I think in the end, what you gain is more than what you lose in terms of control. I think the expectation is it's a more immediate response that they're going to get. So if someone tweets us, they expect a response pretty quickly. I don't think there is. There are ways you can try to manage it. But at the same time, I think the more you do that, the more fake you come across looking as an organization. The more you try to control it, the more people are going to realize what you're doing. And that's just going to create an extra backlash in terms of you're trying to control people's message and control people's thoughts. And so I think the best thing to do is just try to make it as organic as possible. Wikipedia is a little harder. It posits itself as a factual website where you can go and rely on the information used. And I've seen studies where apparently a lot of the information on Wikipedia is just as good as sort of a peer-reviewed academic journal, something like that. So in that sense, it's hopeful, and I think there is a lot of use in having a sort of a socially monitored encyclopedia like that. I would say there's a difference of what should be edited by students and what shouldn't be. If it's factual information, that's probably best left to the university. More opinion information, which may or may not be, or should not be entering into an encyclopedia, that's a place where students, I think, should have a voice, because they're the ones on the ground using these services much more than we are. And so that voice should be heard, but I don't know if Wikipedia is definitely the best venue for that. Students have more of a voice than maybe they did in the past, and it's up to us as staff members here to if things are wrong, simply flat out wrong, that students are saying, we counter that, but when students have a good point, I think we have to sort of internalize that ourselves and see what we can do to react to that. So as I kind of mentioned before, it's a little bit more, it's giving consumers more of a voice and more, I'd say, more willingness to speak out in corporations. I think they're not just corporations, organizations, any organization really. They feel more empowered to relate their personal experiences with a brand or with a product, and I think just the overall amount of what people are saying is more. I don't know that. I think people are always saying the same things. It's just amplified more now, just because you have followers and you have subscribers to you. Probably just better publicized at this point. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, these are things that are always said within your community, within your social group. But now that you have sort of a larger forum that can reach more people, I think these thoughts are getting out there, and in that respect, I think they do have a kind of a way of gaining momentum, whether or not they're justified or not. I mean, it's just network effects. That's kind of how it works. I mean, it depends on the users. I've seen, I don't know if you ever looked at like YouTube comments. They are some of the worst things I've ever read in my life. It's just the dregs of the internet right there. Like, I don't know why people feel the need or the want to go on YouTube and just absolutely crush whatever the other people are saying or what people are posting. So in that respect, I think that's the bad side of it. But then you see sort of support forums for certain people. Certain groups, like even one we monitor here, like College Confidential, for prospective students and families. It's a good way to get information out there, and it's a good way to just sort of commiserate with people in the same space as you at that point. A lot of the information they post on there is wrong, but I think just as a way to kind of connect with people in your same situation, it's a really sort of good way to do that. I think it's going to cause a lot more. People expect a lot more transparency in everything, and the less transparent you are as a brand, I think the more it's going to hurt you.